Welcome to the Nature Photo Guys podcast,
where we talk about nature photography, from gear to our philosophies and everything in between.
So grab a cup of coffee, sit back and relax.
You're listening to Joe Desjardins
and Chris Gibbs, the Nature Photo Guys.
Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. I know it's been a little bit, but Chris and I have been pretty busy, starting the new year. I've been out in the field quite a bit actually. Chris, tell me what you've been up to.
Well, the first part of the year, like the spring, has been super busy on my business side, right? The real estate world in Calgary, It's just been absolutely nuts. So as much as I wanted to get out in the field, I just haven't been able to. But as soon as spring hit and once May hit, things changed a lot, and we were able to finally get out and about, So
yeah, I always look forward to the spring too. It's kind of the bear season for us out here, right?
Exactly.
And actually, May was really busy for me. I had a workshop, the Light Chasers conference.
You
which
spoke.
Was I spoke at that, but what an amazing time it was. Great lineup of speakers, got to meet all kinds of people. There was events, there was critiquing. There was, in the field type of events. Shane did an amazing job.
I was going to say, I think hats off got to go to Shane Turgeon. It was an amazing event, right?
And he's already announced the dates for next year.
Yeah.
Check him out. Yeah, I'm in. I don't even know what the lineup is, but I'm certainly going. Yeah,
I am too. Absolutely. I can't wait.
Well, you were the first one to buy the ticket this year.
I was, yeah.
And he actually singled you out at the conference.
He did, yeah.
And he goes, and there's Chris Gibbs. He's the first one to buy a ticket.
I bought the first ticket. I think there was over 150 guests who attended, right?
There's about 150, he said,
Yeah.
And so, it was cool.
It really was.
I'm just gonna do a quick little look here.
Yeah.
Because I knew Light Chasers. Just want to give everybody the heads up here. So, Light Chasers.
The dates for next year, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, conference for next year, and I think it's May 20.
I know it's at the end of May.
Yeah, May 26th to the 28th, in Pincher Creek, Alberta again.
Yeah, and suppose he's lining up, another great list of speakers as well. He's working on that right now. Nothing's announced, but he's definitely working hard already for next year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
you kind of have to for these things, right? Because everybody plans so far in advance. And
for sure. If it's anything like this year, it's going to be another fantastic time. So.
And you know what I liked a lot about it is the fact that we were actually able to meet a lot of, I was sitting there talking to people going, I should check to see if you're on social media. And we already follow each other. So half the room, that was the fun part to me, is actually meeting these people in person that you followed and maybe shared conversations on social media over many multiple years, actually seeing them for the first time.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
That was pretty cool.
That was kind of cool. It was pretty surprising how many people were actually were following each other, right? So
and met lots of new friends too. So that was pretty good.
Yeah. And I've communicated with them since, so it's pretty cool. Yeah.
It sure is. Yeah.
So at the conference, had a workshop, and then on the road for about 10 days, looking for bears.
Yeah.
And any kind of spring wildlife. And, that was a success too. You and I headed west and, we had a really good, some really good experiences. Got to see grizzlies, black bears, cubs, elk, elk right now that are,
eagles.
Eagles, marmots, right?
Lots of stuff. Yeah.
And, actually, that was a great experience. But even before that, ended up making a trip way up north. Okay. And I got to see the woodland caribou for the first time.
Sweet.
So that was a pretty crazy experience too. And I'm sure, in the next video too, we'll be able to show some of the photos from that experience. But
for sure.
It was quite the time. Got to see some grizzlies up that way too, and that sort of thing. But so, and then back to our trip. I haven't even got through a quarter of the images. I don't even know if you got started
No, I've gone through a couple, and I know on top of the images, I recorded about 90 minutes of video of wildlife as well.
Nice.
Some of them were like 30 minutes of the eagle's nest waiting for the eagles to land, but still, there's a lot of video I recorded too, and I know you did some too as well. So and you
gotta remember, 90 minutes doesn't sound like a whole lot, but these are like 1 minute clips, right? Or 5 minute clips and stuff. So if you do the math, that's a whole lot of clips that you got to kind of go through, right? So
the one thing we keep harping on, and to myself as well, is the fact that I need to use a tripod more in the field for wildlife. Yeah. It's a little harder in the vehicle when you don't want to go outside when you're videoing grizzlies, right?
Right you have to stay in your vehicle.
You got it. So it's a little harder to stabilize. I did find a kind of a window mount. What are those things called? The beanbag.
Like the beanbag.
Yeah. So I got one of those and a nice little video head. So I didn't use it as much this trip, but I will be using it this summer. But the more you can stabilize it, the better off you're going to be. Less concerned in post, right? So just a reminder to everybody there for sure. So
and I got all rigged up like you did. I'm shooting the R5 now, right?
Oh, yeah. Yep, that's right.
And
you are.
It's as cool as it looked with the monitor and everything else. I couldn't get used to it right away. Sure. So I ended up like kind of downsizing everything.
Yep.
In the sense that I just didn't even use the monitor, right?
Yeah. Just the camera basically. Eh?
It was basically just the camera. I added the Rode shotgun mic, but again, like you were saying, a lot of times you don't even use the available audio, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, but well, it's things like that where, your R5 video and your setup, your rig up, right?
Yeah.
Looks great. And then you get out into the field and you got to test it.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think in certain circumstances, having the screen and to be able to, record ProRes RAW and all that from the Canon R5 is a great scenario. But when you're needing to be as agile as you need to be in some of these circumstances, it's just too difficult to be having that big rig that you're carrying. It's bulky. It's, how do you really do that on the side of your car window with the screen up there and you got this, you know what I mean? It's a little awkward at times. So
I think where that's really going to shine is this fall when we go for the elk. I
agree. Yeah.
Because that, lots of time to set up the tripod, get everything rolling, we're watching the rut, things happening. I got a bit of that last year, some video, and I was able to set up, and what a difference it is to, when you're panning, video head, everything's completely just working, right?
Totally.
But, shooting from the, shooting from the handheld or from the vehicle.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I just hope there's huge warp stabilization that I can use to help. But like you said, shooting in 4K, there's lots of room to stabilize, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the one thing I should say is the 90 minutes I did record was actually all in 8K. So,
in 8K.
In 8K. So to be able to crop in, I've already been able to, like I posted you and I had a great experience with a cinnamon black bear that actually walked right through a sapling, right? So, it was pretty cool to see that. That was 8K. I was able to crop in and still be able to get a half decent 4K piece of video, right? Because 8K is like 8,000 pixels wide, right? So
that looks very stabilized too.
Yeah.
I would never know that was handheld.
Right. Yeah.
Well, it wasn't actually handheld. I think you had it resting, right?
Well, kind of, but the key is there, right? Like if you see an object, like for example, we got to video and photograph some loons. I didn't have the tripod the first night. Next night we did. But the very first night, holding it, they're not moving too much, but you're holding that still. They're not moving that much. You can see movement. But when you're actually following an animal and actually tracking it, that's it's not as obvious as if you're holding it as still as possible.
Right. That's right. And with the bear, he was walking towards us. So you're, kind of going with him. So that's why it wasn't obvious. Right.
That's right.
But it was like perfectly framed and everything it was awesome video.
Thanks. No, it turned out really good. I was happy with that scenario for sure. So
For sure.
And the other cool thing I just forgot about I had a fun spring building the back of my truck out for this season. I just forgot about that. My dad and I, I bought a Canopy and I actually packed the back with a bed and some cabinets and a cooler and a power station and computer desk. In fact, I actually edited 2 of my real estate videos in the back of my truck.
That's right.
On the trip, right? So
that's right.
That turned out really well. Look for a video in the future on that one. Just haven't not had the time. We've, you and I have lots of plans sometimes when we get so excited when there's bears, and we get out there.
I know.
Right?
And we don't get a chance to sit there and do what we want, right?
Yeah.
But maybe if you do have a picture that you can take of, just the back of your truck.
For sure.
You might just insert here.
Right there.
Exactly.
You
just a quick snap with your phone or something just to give people an idea. But what a setup that was.
I mean, that turned out well.
You're able
really
to sit straight up, pull the desk out, edit.
I'm short, so it's a little easier to sit straight up. But,
What the Canopy though is, it isn't straight. It goes up too, right?
Yeah, it's like raised 6 inches higher or something.
Yeah. So that allowed you to sit straight up, right?
For sure.
So
So we'll do a video on that in the future for sure to show everybody. But it sure turned out well, and so I was happy about that. So it helped for the season so far. So.
Well, and that was your first time using it, and that's perfect. I think it worked out well.
I think so too. And I mean, there's always the odd thing that you find that you want to change, and really, so far I haven't really wanted to change anything. It's been pretty good actually. So my dad sure helped a lot on that. So thanks to my dad for that one. He's
big shout out to your
absolutely.
dad.
Yeah, that's for sure. So
I think if we actually saw the video of the build, you were probably sitting there drinking beer, and your dad did the whole custom. Exactly right. The whole custom build inside.
Don't say it out loud.
No kidding, right?
Yeah, for sure. No, it was a fun thing. That's for sure. We had a good time together. Yeah.
And I keep saying I'm going to work on one for my Jeep, but it's where's the time go? I'm hoping July and August are kind of on the slow side a little bit, so I can do that. But I mean, in the back of the Cherokee, I mean, there's just lots of room anyways.
Oh yeah, you got a good setup there.
Being able to sleep and everything off to the side and stuff. But
for sure,
I'll get there too eventually.
Everything's eventually, right?
These grand plans and life gets in the way, right?
Oh, for sure. I want a big long lens, but eventually.
Yeah, exactly. So
these things take time.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was good spring. So a couple of things I just want to talk about with the R5.
Yeah.
Being my first real go at it this May with the camera. I mean, I was playing with it since about March, right? Sure. When I first purchased it, but May was kind of the true test. And when we were on the trip, you and I, my camera went sideways. It locked up. I'd hit the shutter and it would be nonstop. Like it was taking 20 frames per second and it just kept going. It would not stop. I turned the power off. It still would not stop. I had to eventually pull the battery out.
Yep.
And I'm just like, wow, what's going on? Right.
You weren't happy that day.
Oh no, I was not happy. And then I put the battery back in, restart it. Things look good. I hit the shutter again and it happened again. I'm losing my mind here. I'm like, brand new camera. And I'm having these issues, right?
Like, why did I buy this thing?
Yeah. So, I mean, good thing, like I always carry 2, right? So I had my 1DX Mark II as a backup. Sure. And, before I go on, I will actually like purchase a second body before I sell that one because I'm always having 2, right?
Yes.
And I was actually thinking of the R6 as a backup anyways.
Oh, that's a good backup. Yeah.
So that happened. So, I used my 1D until we got back to camp later that night, I guess, or was it in the afternoon? Anyways, regardless of the fact, I had to go back into Wi-Fi, open the laptop, download the firmware, right?
Well, because you tried everything else and nothing else fixed it. That was the last straw kind of thing, eh?
Exactly. And, I did have the latest firmware in my camera.
You did,
but I wanted to download and then I reinstalled and it's been great ever since.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's funny. Like it was almost like we were talking, do we need to factory reset it or whatever? And you had that great idea to reinstall the same firmware again, right?
Yeah. Before I even reinstall the firmware.
Yeah.
So once I did that, you and I pretty much mirrored our bodies, right, side by side, the camera bodies, and then
the settings.
I was just settings crossing over. So this led me to a top tip. Okay.
Yep.
Where a lot of times where we're shooting, and if this happens and you're out of cell range, well, what do you do, right? Mm-hmm. Unless you got a backup body, you're kind of stuck until you can get back in the Wi-Fi or in cellular range and that sort of thing. Sure. So what I've done now is I've actually downloaded the latest firmware, and saved my camera settings onto an SD card.
Great idea.
And that's going into my SD pouch, and that's all it's used for. So if this happens again and we're out of cell range, all I have to do is throw it in there, update the firmware again, reload my settings, and I'm ready to go.
So basically you're going to label the card so you don't use it for anything else, right? And
that's right.
I guess you don't have to put the bodies side by side and go over the settings. You'll have the settings on the card too.
Exactly. So everything will be ready to go. So, you're maybe 5 minutes and you're done. Yeah. Right.
That's a great
idea.
That
actually.
Well, let's hope it doesn't happen again, but this is just another one of those backup plans, right?
It is. And, essentially, you're shooting with a computer, right? I mean, you're shooting with a computer that takes pictures.
Yep.
It's a computer that takes pictures, right?
It really is.
So, you get software glitches and I mean, I've got nothing else bad to say about the R5. It's been a great camera, but, when that happens, then you're in the middle of action and it's doing all this kind of stuff. You can understand why you, kind of lose it a little bit. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely your experience was a little halted there for a little bit while you were trying to figure things out. And, it was unfortunate seeing you go through that, but luckily you did have another camera as a backup, right?
And luckily nobody recorded that experience of me going through that.
There
would have been too many beeps, beep,
yeah,
beep,
I'd
beep,
be
beep.
a lot of editing and post on that one.
And the second thing I was going to say about the R5 was the eye auto detect. Phenomenal. It works great. Okay. But what I've found, and I'm sure everybody's experienced this, is a lot of times when the animal, like when the elk were looking right at me, it would catch the snout, it would catch the nose because it's black, right? The black circle, especially the rams. So with the rams, the nostrils are fairly black too, right? So if the ram's looking at me, a lot of times it would jump from the eye to the nose, to the nose. And because I shoot wide open at f4, that's a huge difference in depth of field. And so if it nails the nose, then the eye is going to be soft, right?
Yep.
And I'm not saying it happened all the time, but that was another thing I kind of found that was a little frustrating at times.
Did you notice that more in lower light conditions or just in general?
You know what? I never really paid attention.
Yeah,
but we tend to shoot mornings and evenings anyways. So,
I guess, that kind of answered the question.
There was a lot of bright days that week too, right?
Was, it really was.
But I would just say that as a general comment.
Yeah,
that happening, right? So,
well, the cool thing is that we both have our camera set to the dual back button focus, right?
That's right. Yeah, and that's a good segue into that because when it was doing that. So my back button, the one to the right is like the single autofocus point, right?
Like spot
and
focus.
then the one to the left is the multi eye focus, right? So they're both set to auto eye detect.
Okay.
But the one to the right is set with a single point. So you can use the joystick and kind of lock it on first and then it works, right?
Yeah.
But again, once you lock it on, it will jump back.
Yes.
But it just helps you nail the eye first. So if you can get the eye first, really good chance it's just going to stay there anyways.
Yeah.
The autofocus point, I mean, right? So
sure. Yeah. Well, and I had the same kind of similar situation. I remember back in the fall, when the elk were in the trees, or even this spring when there's the wildlife's in the trees or whatever, and it's kind of hunting and trying to find the animal. Mm-hmm. The spot focus is a black bear in the bushes, kind of through the trees. We've seen some cubs, right? So the spot focus still comes in handy when it's not doing exactly what you're hoping 100%. It will do. Yeah,
it's 100%. And I can even see using manual focus at times too.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean? It's just the nature of technology right now, right? So
exactly. Yeah. No matter what they do, I mean, there's still the basics of photography in these situations you still have to go back to, right? So
100%.
Yeah.
But speaking of low light, you're asking me, when we were photographing those loons,
yes,
it was fairly late in the evening. The light was getting low. And I had one of those loons dip its head, come up, rear right up, do the big wing flap thing and come right back down.
Yeah,
and
that was cool.
That autofocus, the autofocus square, like the spot was on the eye, and I did not move my camera, and that autofocus point followed the loon up and right down, stuck on the eye.
Is that right?
And I was just like, wow. I mean, I would have missed some of it using the 1D because, of course, you're using the joystick at the back with the single autofocus, right?
Sure.
And, I would be trying to move with it or not even moving with it, but, trying to keep it in focus as best as I could, right? Or even just on the head. Sure. But that single autofocus point, holy crap, it just went straight up, right back down. And I was like, I didn't even need to move the camera. I'm just like, wow.
It is pretty unbelievable. I had that same scenario in the spring. There was an eagle flying super high. I couldn't get really great shots, but I just held the button down and man, that thing just tracked it. It was just flying around and it's just unbelievable. It's pretty cool technology. That's for sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. This past spring too, with the great grays, same idea. Like I missed the owl coming off the branch. Okay. But I was able to get the lens up, and as soon as I hit the back button, locked in, and I got him diving. Nice. And just before he hit the snow, and that's all because of the eye auto detect. It was just crazy. So that's pretty other than those couple of the one big issue there that I hope never happens again. Yeah. And the somewhat eye to snout or anything black, whatever. That's that's understandable though, right?
Pardon me?
It's understandable in some of those situations. For sure. No, I
mean, but I really have no other beef with that camera. Nice. I did get the vertical grip in shooting with 2 batteries, and I was really impressed with how long those batteries lasted shooting. Sure. Now I didn't do a ton of video like you did. Yeah. Yeah. But I'd go the full day.
That's unbelievable. Yeah. You were talking about that and I was like, oh my God. Like, I just guess I just do too much video and
shooting 8K and for sure. So, that's why I ended up buying 6 batteries. Cause I thought, oh man, we're going to go through a lot of these, but, 2 batteries for the day. Nice. So really impressed with that too for stills. Yeah. For stills.
Yeah, I know. And I guess, if you're away on a weekend, you don't have time to charge them. At least you still have the 6 batteries and you got them as backup, right? Yeah. And that's,
I've always been like that anyways with,
me too.
With my other gear too, just, cause you never know when you're going to get the chance to do that. Right.
No, exactly.
So other than that, it's been an amazing camera. Yeah. Can't wait to get out there and shoot with it. Maybe practice some of the more the birds in flight kind of stuff in the next few months, right?
Sure. Yep.
See how that works for tracking. Cause next thing you know, July, August, in about 3 months, it's elk rat time. So, right? Elk and moose. So
life's flying by, man.
Yeah. But I'm not complaining. That's for sure. Not complaining.
That's for sure. So.
I really, that was the only thing I really want to say about the R5. So,
okay. Well, I guess maybe I'll add a couple in, on that one there. I've run into a couple issues as well. I absolutely love the R5. Everything that I've used it for is amazing. And I have no complaints on the photo side, aside from what you raised. I mean, knock on wood, I haven't had some, as too many experiences you have had. And, our friend Mark has had when he first got his camera as well. And,
boy, I was there.
That was a bad day too.
Yeah. Cause he was right beside me and we're photographing the elk rat and, he was trying to get video and his R5 locked up. I forget what the error code was. Yeah. Error 70 or 60 or I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Mark's got a little video on that.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
I think he did because he was asking us, what did he do? Remember how we're all asking we sent him video clips about that. Remember?
Yeah, he was going to use them for future, and we kept on. We all bugged him about the. What does this error code mean, Mark, or whatever?
Yeah, exactly. So, that's what it was. That's what it was. Yeah. So it worked out. That was really unfortunate for Mark, but again, true professional. Had his backup gear with him, all his lenses and everything else. So, you missed a few opportunities, but you're right back at it. And his the camera store he deals with, flew him out another one and everything. So the whole experience for him, even though it was kind of crappy with what happened, got him up and running and everything and back shooting, right? So.
Yeah. And that's really, my main couple points here is the fact that the backup scenarios, right? So, I have run into some issues on the video side, not in the field so much yet. The photo side's been great. I have no complaints, but the video side, I have had some issues in the business world where I am literally recording, or I shouldn't say recording for the whole time, but having the camera on for over an hour straight, with the LCD screen. I guess the sensor just heats up, and I've had it overheat on me probably about 8 times now, believe it or not.
Okay.
Now, in these situations, I have noticed it was in the winter when I'm doing, real estate videos and whatnot. It's not too bad. As the spring came, we had some more, 15 to 20 degree days Celsius, right?
Yeah.
The camera started heating up, and it just didn't last as long. And I did notice that. So I realized, okay, well, I need a backup scenario here. And yes, I still have my Fujis, and I am actually moving away from the Fujis because at this point I ended up picking up a R5C. So the R5C is pretty much the R5, but it's got a fan built into it, right? So it actually, people have said that they haven't ever been able to even make it overheat once. Knock on wood, hopefully it doesn't happen to me, but but it's just rock solid. The problem is, now I should say that where the R5, in my opinion, is a photo camera that also does 8K video. In my opinion, the R5C is more of a video camera that also does, stills. Yeah, exactly. Now, they both do the same video scenarios, all that kind of stuff. The R5C is definitely set up for more of a cinematic, hence the C, right? Cinematic scenario. It does have 2 operating systems, where one is the Canon photo menu system, and the other operating system when you go to video is actually the cinema camera operating system. So I've never used the cinema camera before, so it's got, I've taken me a little bit of time to get used to that, but so far so good. I'm starting to get used to it for sure. But, on the video side, the micro HDMI cables, the input to that camera or the output of the micro HDMI, they put that on the R5C as well. So they didn't put a full HDMI output
so
there.
tell us the problem you've been having with that.
So the micro HDMI cable is so tiny that it's not a full. I'd say it's less than a quarter of the size of an actual HDMI port, right? So what I've had happen when I'm on my gimbal or accidentally tap it or whatever, it snaps off the little metal end in the camera. So I've got the cable, and where's the other piece? Stuck in the HDMI, micro HDMI port. So got to get the, pliers and pull that out of there and buy another cable. So I've got stocks of cables here. I've tried clamping it. I've tried a bunch of different things, finding just different adapters. Right now I'm having to go with a longer cable that's got another clamp scenario that seems to be stable, but anything with a little adapter and the little micro, if you don't clamp that on, if you bump that, it's snapping off. And
so what you're using is that the HDMI is going in, or the micro HDMI goes in, and then you have the female end of the HDMI. And then that portion there is actually bolted to your small rig cage, right?
Yes.
And then you just put the full size HDMI into that. So you're having a problem with that breaking in there if you. Yeah,
and I've tried a whole bunch of different scenarios. I've tried the small rig has what you just explained there, an HDMI with a little kind of a short little cable that screws to the cage where I can put a full HDMI in that goes to the Atomos. I should say that's because I'm using the Atomos Ninja 5 Plus. That's why I'm trying to get video out to the screen, right, to record. I've tried a little adapter that's got a micro HDMI with a full HDMI female on the end, so it just sticks in. That snapped. Even though I've clamped it, it seems to still not stay in there. I've now been using the last couple weeks. It's basically, I can't find a shorter cable than this, but it's about 2.5 feet or 3 feet long. And it's just one, specific cable. Micro HDMI on one end goes to the male HDMI port into our cable into the Atomos Ninja. And I've clamped that. That seems to be stable, but yeah, that's what my one pet peeve. And I know there's a lot of complaints online. You create a, cinema version of the R5 and you still put that micro HDMI cable in. It's a bit of a frustration, but hey, I'm working through it. Everything else on that camera is stellar. The quality on that camera is unbelievable. The difference that it doesn't have is it does not have IBIS. It does not have stabilization.
Okay, so I was just going to mention that because you're loving the image stabilization on the R5, but the R5C just doesn't have it in body. So
I just know that it's tripod or gimbal, no handheld. Handheld at all for that guy. So
that's right.
But we were talking a little bit earlier about fall elk season, right? So the elk rut. I have a scenario where I'm thinking I'm going to put my R5C on the tripod, carry that around, plop it down there, hit video when the elk or whatever is not doing too much, just hanging out there or whatever, and then be able to shoot photos with the R5 as well. So kind of do video and photos when when the elk moves or whatever, and you're wanting to track it. Obviously, I'm not going to shoot photos because I got my video head. I'm going to track them, but it's kind of my thought right now. But
so this is where maybe one of those cotton carrier rigs or something might come in handy if you're going to be lugging the R5C over a tripod,
or my shoulder.
It'd be nice to have the, maybe the R5 with a 1:5 or 1:4 or whatever lens you're going to use attached to your chest, or they've got like a side holster kind of thing you could clip it onto.
Sure.
Also, just to alleviate all that weight on your neck with a strap. That's just not even recommended because it's just so tiring and it's gives you a neck ache. It's not very stable either. You're always trying to sling it behind you as you're walking and stuff. So having something like that might be the way to go too.
I think so. And I say this right now, but we're going to get out in the field and go, what am I doing? Just bring one camera on the tripod, carry that thing. And I got this and in my backpack and it's just, maybe easier just to carry one, the tripod with the camera and be able to do photo and video. So we'll see.
So one of the guys we met on the trip was Randy Tremblay.
Yes.
And, he was just full out rigged with cotton carrier and stuff. And he was able to carry, his systems, 2 different lenses, 2 different camera bodies. And he seemed really comfortable and was just giving her, right?
You're right. That's a good point. He did. Yeah.
And again, it's something maybe just to get used to, but if we're thinking, of doing that and thinking of those scenarios and, you're out in the field all day, that might be the way to go, so.
It may be. I mean, I think we, at times we're just so excited and grab our stuff. Let's go. And I think that, there's times that we just need to pause, grab our stuff, suit up, take our time, go. And then we're prepared when is that and ready. I know. We talk about that.
I've been doing this for over 30 years and I'm still like a little kid, right? It's like, stop the car,
Get out, it's right there. Grizzly. Yeah.
Just go,
I know.
But
we are prepared in the vehicles, right? When we're driving around, we have 2 cameras sitting out there. We're always prepared, ready to go. Just a matter of when 100%. We're actually hiking in or something like that. Maybe that's the time we need to think about that. But
and the other thing too is, that kind of rig. I remember the Wild and Exposed guys talking about this, and we've talked about it. But Jason made a good point about carrying just that separate little pouch or a pocket where you put in a couple of batteries, your cards, maybe a cleaning cloth and, an air blower, in case you get a bunch of stuff on your lens.
Right.
And just that stays on your person all the time.
Sure.
Because I actually started doing that. And the reason for it was because it was always left in my camera bag. And who wants to throw a camera bag on also, you know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
To go, it just didn't make a whole lot of sense. I mean, I've been doing that forever, but cotton carrier, one camera lens, you got the other one over there, over the shoulder and just that pouch, and you're good to go. Like, I mean, you're good for hours out there, if not longer, right?
Sure.
Enough room to throw in a power bar and you have water and that's it. You're golden. So
that's a good point. That's probably something I should consider as well, because I was carrying my backpack, when we're out in the mountains and stuff too. And
you're
when
carrying
we're hiking
the Talopa.
I was carrying the Talopa, and
that's half your body length, right? It's just like you're carrying this thing.
I may be short. I don't think I'm that short, but you're probably right.
Right.
I know. So, and I guess the last thing I wanted to say about the switching, or not switching, now using the R5 and the R5C as my main two cameras, and I will be using those for a number of years. I think technology changes so fast. I don't know. It's hard to say that anymore these days, but that's the goal. And I will be, I am, even though Fuji's great, these cameras, I love them, but the batteries in the R5C don't last very long. Like, I'm talking when I'm using video, it's like 20 to 30 minutes, depending on what I'm recording.
Okay.
And it's not good. So what I have been doing for a few of the business shoots that I was using it for, I actually strap on my power pack and actually use a USB-C from the power pack to the Canon R5C or the R5, whatever I'm using. And that thing lasts forever. And you can actually see it says USB power on the screen, and it's great. So, again, when we're out in the field and in a hurry and running and whatever, if it's set up, that's one thing. If it's not set up, things take time and we may not be prepared. Just bring lots of batteries.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So, and again, we're learning every day, guys.
Oh, for sure.
This works. This doesn't work. Combination of these two things works better than this, it's just how it is. Right. So,
well, and truthfully, I mean, if anybody's hearing this conversation and talking about, some of the scenarios we've been through or some of the accessories that we could use that you're using, let us know. Like, we'd love to hear from you guys. Right.
Oh, so absolutely. Yeah. No, 100%. And I mean, when I seen, Randy with the con carrier stuff, is like, boom. It's like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. And I know a lot of people have been using them. I just never really thought of it. But now with video,
it's Jason at Well and Expose uses it, right? Or is it Ron or Jason?
That's right. No, it's Jason,
right?
Yeah. Jason uses it too.
Yeah.
He might actually be an ambassador or something. I think I'm not sure. Yeah. But he also uses it too. So just another tool, right?
Yeah.
Get that heavy camera bag off your back and just things readily available for you, right? So
yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I guess one thing I just overlooked also is the fact that the R5C, yes, it doesn't have in-body stabilization, but it still has the, the stabilization on, if the lens has a stabilization, it still, is able to transfer that through. For the longer lenses,
so
right?
Your EF lenses, the stabilization still comes through.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't have to be an RF for the IS to work. Okay.
Correct.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So no, that's awesome then.
Yeah, that's one thing I should say. I guess you as well. We're both still using the EF lenses, right, with the R5s at this point.
With the adapters.
Yeah, with the adapters. I have two adapters. I have the control ring adapter, and I also have the variable ND adapter for the video side. Do you have both as well now?
I do, and it was kind of funny because you and I, when we were out there, we were like, which adapter do we put on, right? Because it's midday, we need to put this one on, and then we forget we had it stop down to like 4 stops or something on the ND, and it's like, why is my ISO at 10,000 and it's only like 6 in the afternoon? Or bring it back. It's like, oh, there we go, right? So it was hard getting used to that, and switching back and forth, right? But it was still a lot of fun, and
it was,
most of my videos, because of the way I have things set at 1/50th of a second f4 at, was it 400 or 800 ISO, whatever it was, is usually not the right setting. Okay. So because I didn't have that, the adapter with the ND,
right,
everything is blown out. So in the videos, every video, you can hear me spinning the dial to get it down to about F22 to get the right exposure.
Because you're talking about as soon as you hit the record button, it just switches to the video mode, right?
Oh, that's it. And then you're scrolling all the way. So you can hear in the camera, like, trying to get it down. Now,
totally.
That works. Yep. It's great, but now you're shooting an F22 as opposed to F4.
Right. Yeah.
So and for the most part, I was shooting stuff like the mountain goats. They were, up against the side of a ledge anyways. So depth of field wasn't all that critical, right?
Sure. So yeah, fair enough.
but that was my real first experience using all that in the month of May. So, we'll just keep playing with it and seeing what works and remembering and,
Yeah. I mean, you can go, as you can go over the cameras and all that stuff as many times as you want sitting on your couch. But the moment you're out there using it in situations that you don't think about, that's when you learn the most, right? So just get out there and use it. And that's what we've been doing. So.
And just to segue into the, the pouch and, what the guy said while exposed and that sort of thing. My pouch is just a little bit bigger. So I have a 1.4 teleconverter, and I have one of the other adapters in there. So whatever one I'm not using is in that pouch.
Okay.
So nice. I have batteries, cards, cleaning, and the 1.4 and teleconverter and whatever adapter is not being used.
Nice.
So it's not all that heavy, but it's with me, right? So
yeah. And I've basically been doing one adapters on one camera and the other adapters on the other camera, which actually bit me in the butt when you and I actually went hiking in looking for some wildlife at one point in our trip, if you recall. Yeah. I brought one camera and that's it. And I forgot to switch the adapter, and, it was low light conditions at nighttime, and I got the variable ND, which actually blocks out a stop or two of light when you're
at the lowest
setting. So I was a little disappointed in that situation. It's almost the reverse of your situation that you went through, right? So
and the I shouldn't say crappy thing about it, but is you just can't remove that ND and shoot.
No, you can't.
You can't. You can slide it out, but the minute you do, the camera stops working.
Right, which is why they make you buy the blank to put in there. The blank,
right? Which is what.
How much was $150 or something for a blank.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
just
for me, I'd just rather
switch
switch the adapter, and I just need to make sure I bring it with me, and that's the problem, right? So
for sure. Again,
you forget.
Lessons learned, right?
Oh, totally. Yeah, we're all learning.
Yeah, for sure.
So Joe, one thing I'm curious about is now that you have your R5, you had a bit of a slow computer before with your MacBook, and you've picked up a new MacBook, have you?
A bit of a slow one. It was a 2015 MacBook Pro, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And basically when I opened the MacBook, the fans came on.
Oh,
okay. So it was, she was getting she was getting old. And I mean, hey, I had it for 7 years and not a single hiccup with that laptop. So
nice.
So I did buy the new MacBook Pro, 16-inch, M1 Max.
Yeah.
I got as much RAM as I could, 64 gigs and a 4 terabyte SSD drive.
Yeah, internal.
And wow. I mean,
a little bit of a speed change for you.
Well, yeah. And even, what I've been doing too is I've been downloading my images right onto my MacBook.
Okay.
And to an external drive for backup.
Okay.
But what I've been doing then is being able to work off the internal SSD for editing, and especially Lightroom when I'm doing the first edits, going, I use P for flag and X to, delete, right? Sure. Or to X out so I can delete them after. And I'm just like, I'm going as fast as the images will come up. Before I would hit P, it would advance. Then it would load.
It's blurry. You're waiting for it to come into focus.
Waiting for it to load, and then that kind of stuff. And that's not with previous. Like I had it all checked off, so it's just the minimum to see, right?
Yeah. That's a game changer. It totally is a game changer.
So I mean, I'm sitting there on the couch and I'm watching YouTube or doing something like that, and I'm able to just get through that initial first set. So. The Grand Cache, it was a couple thousand images. I was able to just plow through those really quick. Nice. 400 or 500 gone right away, and that kind of thing. Whereas before I didn't even want to edit. Because it was painful.
Just too much of a frustration, It's
and as far as video goes, that's one thing I haven't tried on this yet. Editing video, but I mean, you and I have the exact same MacBook, so if you're editing 4K, I mean, this is going to be easy peasy because I'm editing MP4s. Is that 4K MP4s, right?
Oh, video.
4K,
Yeah.
4Ks. Because they're not log files that I'm doing, right?
No, they're still MP4s at this point or whatever. Even minor MP4s are just log files that are just flat files basically, right? So
yours are?
Yeah, mine are just basically flat, almost like a raw photo. It just
That's right.
There's no and you basically add the color to it, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
But mine's kind of like the JPEG version, right?
Yeah, kind of.
Like I got color.
Yeah, you got color. You can still make some adjustments, but it's like you're right. It's like a JPEG. How much can you really do to a JPEG? You can do some stuff, but it's not. You don't have as much.
Until Joe learns, Joe's shooting JPEGs or JPEG quality video, I guess, or whatever. I mean, it's still 4K. Good. I mean, it's still amazing. You can still do all kinds of stuff. And I mean,
for sure.
I'm looking at it on my MacBook here, and it's just like, it looks awesome. Color looks awesome. Everything looks good. So I'm not too worried about it right now.
No. I mean, I think you're fine like that for a long time, right? I mean, the color's still really good. And I mean, one thing I have noticed with the R5, I don't know if you've noticed it too much, but there's definitely more of a magenta hue to a lot of my photos and video that I've been seeing. So I definitely have to keep an eye out for that. I've been noticing it.
So I've noticed magenta, but this has been ongoing with Canon, not so much the R5, but Canon in general.
Sure, yeah.
And great grays, bears, a lot of that stuff has a really huge magenta cast to it.
Okay, yeah.
Especially the great grays, the purple owls.
Yeah, the purple owls.
Oh, I see it a lot online, a lot on Instagram and stuff. And I'll message my friends and just quietly say that it's a purple owl.
Yes, I've got one of those messages before. I love your purple fox.
Well, actually, what I've been doing too is I'll take a screen capture, cut it, bring it into Snapseed, do that quick color adjustment, and then send it back. Just because a lot of times, it's not even maybe that they don't see it. It could be monitor calibration. You could be editing the photos on your phone and not really know. You could be in mixed light. Like right now, I got window light, and I've got these LED lights here that I think this was set at 3,600 or
3,600 Kelvin. Yeah,
3,600 Kelvin.
Yeah.
Trying to get as closely balanced as possible, but it's just, and again, guys, it's something you learn over time. Like you'll learn to see it. I see magenta and I see cyan very easily. Right. So, and if you're not sure, just take that white balance picker tool and just go all over find a black spot or a white spot or a neutral gray. And then look in the upper right-hand side where the, the histogram box is and all that kind of stuff. You'll see the RGB values underneath, and you'll see if, the values are really skewed, it needs a color correction, right? It's when you make the adjustment and then all the numbers, all the RGB values are the same,
right?
Whether it's 50, 50, 50 or 49, 51, 50, all
almost
really close.
Almost identical. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Then you'll know, right? So,
and we did a wildlife video editing session on that. So we'll link it up here so you can actually see Joe editing some of those images as well there. So.
Yeah. I know I did the fox one. I don't remember if I did.
There was a couple of wildlife images that you did. I don't know if you did an owl, but there was some wildlife that you did work on.
Yeah, for sure.
And I truthfully, I have to admit, I have some of those issues when I don't see white to white balance off of. I go and you kind of you look for stuff, right? And we've had that conversation before, and sometimes it doesn't work. Actually, you click something you think is black or gray. It's actually not black or gray. It looks like it is to your eye, but it's actually not. So you got to be careful. But
a lot of times too, I'll make my white balance adjustment. Boom. It looks oversaturated, or it's I know the white balance off slightly. So, you'll go into your white balance sliders and, instead of it being on the cool side or the warm side, I kind of adjust it manually until it kind of comes into what I want the white balance to be. Right.
Sure.
So,
yeah, absolutely.
But so that's that was a good point with the R5, or I think Canon cameras in general. I can only compare back to the 5D Mark III. That was my previous Canon, so maybe I didn't notice as much before, but I definitely have noticed that, especially in video. I got to be really careful. I've seen that too. But there is one thing in Lightroom I noticed you can actually go into the profile setting and go to color matching or something like that, and actually reads from the R5. So you can actually click on that before, rather than using like Adobe RGB
be or whatever, you can kind of choose that first and then go off that basis, which is kind of handy now.
So that's in Lightroom?
That's in Lightroom. Yeah.
So you know what, maybe, because I'm not quite exactly sure what you mean.
Okay.
So how about we do, maybe you can do a quick little short with, recording off your iPhone or something.
Maybe should I share my screen on this, Joe?
Yeah. Why don't you do that? So, we'll do that right now then.
Okay. So Joe, here's Lightroom here. And what I do before I edit any photo nowadays, usually it comes up in, if you go in the profile in the develop module under profile, you can see Adobe Color, landscape, portraits, right here. I click on browse, and then under camera matching, it somehow recognizes the camera based on metadata or whatever it is, right? And if you choose faithful, that kind of gives me the basis to start editing on. So I've been using that a lot more.
Nice.
And starting there rather than starting with Adobe Color. I mean, if you start at Adobe Color or, or portrait or vivid or whatever it is.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. Okay, cool.
I've been clicking on faithful, and that kind of gives me, it removes a bit of the magenta and gives me a more starting basis. And truthfully, I can't take credit for that when I saw that online. And you know what?
100%.
It's been a game changer already for any photo I've edited from the R5. So I just thought I'd show you that. So
no, that's awesome, man. That's a really cute beaver.
A beaver.
Oh, I gotta tell you something.
Okay.
So, a friend of mine, he had actually went down to Lundberg Falls.
Okay.
He went down there with his girlfriend and everything. And so the next day he goes out to me and goes, Joe, he says, I saw, you wouldn't believe what I saw. He said, it looks like a beaver, but it isn't. I said, what? He goes, it's like a beaver. It's got the teeth and everything, but it isn't. I go, oh, okay. It's a marmot, right?
It's a marmot.
I don't know. I know it looks like a beaver, but it's not. And I was like, so I brought up a picture and showed him. I was like, oh yeah, it was a marmot, right? So
there you go.
But it's pretty cool when people get excited about, seeing wildlife like that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Especially for the first time. Right. So
in this case, that was a marmot, not a beaver.
It was. Thanks for,
just so you're aware. I just want to clear that up for you.
Exactly. And for our audience.
Yes. For our audience. Exactly. So absolutely. So,
well, you know what, Chris, I think this is it was a good little chat on the R5, a couple of our experiences. I think our next video we'll actually talk about our May.
I think that's a great idea.
Share some videos and share some photos and, a few stories to add in there too. So, but I think that's a great idea. I really just wanted to get out some stuff on the R5 today. And maybe that tip about, storing that stuff on an SD card will save somebody in the future in the field, right? So, and
really that tip is not necessarily just for the R5. It could happen to any camera in the future.
100%.
So, it's good to have that for no matter what camera system you're using. Right?
I mean, any of the mirrorless stuff, you can save camera settings and, it's got firmware, save it to your card and, save yourself a whole lot of headaches.
Totally. Absolutely. That was a good way you were able to, update it and you're back in business. So that was good. I felt you were a little more happier by the end of the day, which was good.
Yeah. No more hiccups. You know what I mean? So it was all good. But if you see the next video with a title like Fuji or something, Joe did not have a really good experience.
This just kept happening. Again. Yeah, exactly. so, well, hopefully your troubles are behind you.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what? Even if they aren't, I mean, stuff happens. That's why you have backups. I mean, I used to shoot weddings and all that kind of stuff. And I've always had 2 camera bodies with me.
Sure. Yeah.
Even back in the film days. And I know that sounds a little kind of crazy in the film days, but shutters could lock. I mean, stuff could still happen, right? So it's fine. It's going to happen, and I'm sure it might happen again. Something might happen. It's the nature of the beast. It's computers. It's electronics. It's it's what it is. But to be prepared for it, it's what you got to do. So,
it's not necessarily just camera systems, it's computers, it's backing up everything. Right. So it just right across the board. And at the end of the day, I mean, we talked a bit about the few issues with the R5, but honest to God, the R5 and the R5C so far are probably the best 2 cameras I've ever used. So, I mean, I have no complaints. They're really stellar.
Yeah. So. Yeah. No, so 100%. So we'll wrap it up there, Chris, and everyone. We really appreciate you watching. Please like, share, subscribe. That would really help us out. I mean, we're almost to the 500, I think we're about
Close
15 short right now.
Getting closer.
285. So that'd be a great little milestone for us to get over. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.
See you next time.
Thanks for joining us on the Nature Photo Guys podcast. If you have any questions, contact us at info@thenaturePhotoGuys.ca or message us on Facebook and Instagram at the Nature Photo Guys Podcast. Visit YouTube and subscribe to our channel to watch all our latest videos. Or follow and listen to our latest podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or on our website at thenaturePhotoGuys.ca. We'll catch you next time on the Nature Photo Guys Podcast.